in America, many of us still believe in the American dream. But why are we still not happy? Why are we struggling to own our own home, to find a job? Do we still have faith that our government representatives have a heart? And do they care about the people who actually put them into office? Join us as we sit one-on-one with America's congresspeople and ask the questions that will reveal what is at the heart and soul of the people who decide our lives. Hi, I'm Sister Jenna. Let's do Soul Talk. Welcome to America Meditating Soul Talk. Each time we get together in this conversation, I'm actually seeking to learn more about myself. I'd reached a point in my own spiritual journey. I knew what you were thinking by looking at your body language. I kind of know what you were living and what you were up to. I could finish your sentences before you could. So something within myself was saying, but this is not what I want to do. I don't want to be here doing this, watching what someone else is doing. I'm here to learn about my own spiritual energy. I'm here to bring back the divinity into my personality. And I'm here to deepen my relationship with God. So I decided to invite a few friends to have a discussion and share them with you as we learn more about ourselves. We're going to be exploring questions that are really important. They're not new questions. We've been asking these questions for ages. The question is, do we have the answer? Today I have with me Harriet Fulbright, and we go way back. Harriet and I will be traveling somewhere across the world, not even being aware that we're in countries. And whether it's in Africa or India or somewhere, we would end up somewhere. I think the last time we bumped into each other, we were at a Japanese tea ceremony in downtown Silver Spring. So just to give you an idea of the closeness and the richness of our relationship. And I wanted her to be on Soul Talk because she has grown up in America. When I turned to Harriet to learn more about this country and what this country can offer as a narrative towards the world, it is so important to me because her voice makes a difference and her voice is of wisdom. And I'm very happy to have Harriet Fulbright on Soul Talk. Madame Harriet Mayer Fulbright is the widow of the United States Senator J. William Fulbright and former executive director of the President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities under President Clinton. She has served as president of the J. William and Harriet Fulbright Center, awarded over 10 honorary doctorates for her work in education and peace. You know, I have a lot of questions for you, but I think more than that, I'm going to share with everyone just our connection. Mm-hmm. We have been on places like yachts in Jordan, you know, sailing on the River Nile. We have had belly dancers on the table dancing for us, and we looked at each other across the table like this, like, what in the world is she doing? We have also sat in Japanese tea ceremonies. We've been on India on the mountaintop with the sense that we were meeting God. Exactly. And now we're sitting here talking about really important issues. Mm-hmm. You know me very well, and you know how much I love this country, and I love the world at large, but I'm here in service to the United States of America. And you've heard me continuously say if this country can only become spiritual, it would lead the world towards what I say it's a golden age world. When I turn to you for these questions today, I really am going to value your answers. Right?
Thank you. I hope I live up to it.
I know you will. When we look at a perfect America, I would like you to share with me from your eyes, what do you envision as a perfect America?
Wow, perfection is something that we are always striving for and never seem to quite get there. Mm. But I think one of the great strengths of this country is that it is very diverse and we are comfortable with our diversity. We do not fight. Sometimes we don't understand each other, but there's very little in the way of fighting against one another. It is a country with wide differences, but respect for those differences, and that's what I treasure.
Interesting, because back in India, we're very much on a hierarchical traditional system. And if you don't follow the elders, you're sort of almost sometimes on your own. But here there's a leveraging, there's an attitude of wanting to leverage the playing field for everyone. Do you think, however, that that leveraging has created some confusion in the culture?
Confusion, perhaps, but also a certain amount of understanding of differences and acceptance of differences, acceptance of differing ways of being, both daily and with respect to what is important in our lives.
Spirituality and meditation is a big thing for me.
And me too, as you well know.
Definitely, and I'm glad about that. How can meditation and spirituality help the economy of this country, the international shaping of their policies, the ways that the world turned to America? Can America apply spirituality and meditation and make their policies and their programs better?
Well, I think we're always struggling with trying to do exactly that, and meditation takes different forms. We don't have to sit here and go, It's not. That's not the only way to meditate. Meditate is also deep thinking, and there's, I think, a tremendous amount of attempt to think deeply in an effort to understand differences, to accept differences, to try to work with those who are different. That is certainly part of America.
Now, why do you think that meditation and spirituality does not really resonate to mainstream yet in this country?
That's a very good question. We are always in a hurry, aren't we? Rush, rush, rush. Where are we going?
Yeah.
I think it is perhaps more in the back of some people's minds than you might think. And people try hard to step back and think deeply, which is part of meditation. There's always so much to do in this country, yes.
Yeah, that's one of the issues here. We're always trying to move faster than we can think. Yeah?
Exactly.
Well, I'm hoping that the country will emote more meditative practices. I know a lot of members of Congress are doing that now.
Yes, they are.
And when I think about meditation and spirituality, I'm also taken to like consciousness. And I'm always curious to find out what's your definition of consciousness, because it's always been very hard to define.
It is totally hard to define. And to me, consciousness, part of consciousness is awareness. Consciousness is an attempt to see and understand what is happening around you instead of either ignoring it or concentrating only on one's inner thoughts. And that is often hard.
Do you think that there are different kinds of consciousness?
I
Is there
do
like
think so.
a dark kind of consciousness, and is there a kind of a light-hearted consciousness, or you think consciousness is just a consciousness?
No, I think you're right. I think there are different levels of consciousness. I don't know about the dark or light, but certainly deep consciousness as well as just immediate consciousness.
Right, right. Your definition of God.
Wow, that is so hard, because I think God is the all unknowable, but I feel strongly that it is a power beyond our comprehension. There are times when that higher power gives us strength we never knew we had, and also understanding that we did not have before we really focused on it. And that, to me, is the important part of this higher power.
I used to always wonder, why is it that everyone spoke so much about this energy, but no one could ever clearly tell me what this energy was all about. And when my parents brought this image of light in our home, my mother said, Jenna, this is God. And I said, you know what, that's it. That's it. That's what it would mean to me. You know why? With my dad being Hindu and my mother being Roman Catholic, I had seen so many differences of God that when I first turned to this image and she showed me this image of energy, that there was this energy that existed with abstract qualities. And I remembered her specifically. I was 17. And she says, Jen, if you keep remembering this energy that is the ocean of love and purity and peace, the energy will influence your energy and change what is negative in you, and it will make you a better person. And that was 17, and I still went out partying and boogieing. So it's like sometimes, even if you get the truth at a particular time, or you get a truth, it doesn't necessarily mean that the soul is even ready to emanate that truth, you know? And I thought that was very powerful for me to look at this energy of God. I ask this question to just about everyone I meet. What is your definition of God? Because I think it's profound in the way it reveals us as a culture, you know?
Yes. My father and mother were loving and wonderful people. My mother, however, when I was 12, was killed in a skiing accident. And my father then tried hard to do his best and still go to work every day, which was a little hard. He also remarried after a while to a very wonderful woman whom I looked at as my older sister. He claimed in the beginning that he was an atheist. He didn't believe in God. But toward the end of his life, he realized that there has to be something higher. And he couldn't quite say it was God, but there was a higher power. And I very much believe that this higher power is something that we cannot define because it is so much bigger than we are.
I believe that. Once we had a student at the meditation center years ago, and he was an atheist too. And when we offered the meditation course, the second class, which is on knowing God, he goes, nope, didn't sign up for that. I only came here to relax. Unfortunately, he slipped down the steps and he kept saying, oh God, help me, oh God, help me. And then I really realized that everyone has a recording that there is this energy that's there to help them,
That's
regardless
right.
if they want to turn to them
That's
or not.
right.
Harriet Fulbright, what are you absolutely sure of? You have seen a lot growing up. You've traveled the world. You have taught in different places around the world. You have been with many heads of state. You've been with many people who are in very challenging situations. You've been with the poor, the rich, the black, the white, the pink, and the blue. What are you absolutely sure of at this time?
That's a very hard question. I certainly am absolutely sure of my own inner faith. I am absolutely sure that most people in this world are really trying to do something good. I don't think there are very few people who relish evil, but there are lots of people who go astray. Well, one of the things that certainly shook me to the core was the sudden death of my mother, and that was when I was 12. I was happy-go-lucky up until then. I was bright, I was good at school, I was doing well. I didn't, think more deeply about life or anything like that until one day, as I said, I woke up and one of my mother's best friends was sitting on my bed crying. I woke up and she told me that my mother wasn't coming back. And I thought, well, I'll wait for her. And no, she's never coming back. And that took a lot to sink in. And it was then that I began to think more deeply about these kinds of things.
I always believe that there are two things that shift consciousness. love or tragedy.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes both, yeah.
You've said in the past that America opens its doors to everyone.
That's absolutely true.
And also that this is an aspect of spirituality. Could you elaborate more?
Well, it opened its doors to everyone, and while we did not have to accept another's people's beliefs or way of life, there was an understanding that we had to live and let live. That those whose belief systems were very different from our own could not be prosecuted. We could respect and understand and let them believe what they believe, not try to make them change. And the country remains that to this day. As you can see, we are a community of people who are everywhere from hardcore atheists to people who believe in very powerful God.
And they both can sit at a dinner table and break
Exactly,
bread. Yeah.
exactly, and agree to disagree.
That is something that I've loved watching because we've traveled the world, and if you don't necessarily do like the Romans do, then you can't stay there. And I think America doesn't do that. And that is spirituality, as you said earlier on,
Yes.
that when you can have a variety of differences around a table and not fight about it,
That's
there's
right.
an element of spirituality there. We've been through many programs where a Christian, a Jew, an atheist, a Muslim, they're sitting at the table baking bread. Not baking, but breaking bread.
Yes.
And they're actually able to have a very beautiful, meaningful conversation.
That's correct.
And even we have heard, because we've been at some of these tables together, where they would tell you, I can't do that back in my country.
Yes, that's also
Right?
very true.
Right. So spirituality is really an invitation for all to just sit together. And I think what you're saying is that America invites all to the table.
That's
And
correct.
gives them a chance to work towards their element of freedom for
That's
themselves.
correct.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Harriet Fulbright, thank you so much for joining us on Soul Talk.
It's been my honor and my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We continue to go into questions because with the questions, and especially if they're appreciative questions of inquiry, we grow to learn that maybe at the heart of every human soul is the power to be pure and the power to be good. You could be an atheist today and tomorrow realize that maybe there is such a thing as God, and He will always, or she, will always be there to hold us. I believe that this energy of divinity and purity is at access to every one of us, but if we think it, if I can think of this supreme energy, the beautiful one that Harriet was talking about, then I can pull the energy of those beautiful qualities inside of my system. Thank you so much for joining us today, and take care.